Word Balloon is brought to you by the League of Word Balloon Listeners.
Hi. Welcome again. It's time for another Trek Watch. We're going to be talking about Strange New Worlds that has a title that I know the last word is Mutari. I forget what the first word is, but it's Latin, and it means trauma death. It doesn't mean trauma death, but it should, because once again, we are celebrating trauma in so many ways in this fine episode. Gorn Schmorn. Gorn porn, if you will. John Suntra's here, Franco's here, Mitch is here, and Langley is watching. Hello, Langley. So what did you guys think?
I liked it.
We keep saying that every week. It's so weird.
It's great that we could say that every week.
I know. After 5 years, to say I like Star Trek again.
Yeah.
No,
I like the broad strokes. Go on. No, you guys go ahead.
I was going to say, I knew going in we weren't going to see the Gorn because I didn't think they want to totally rewrite canon that much. But so you kind of already had an idea what was going to happen. Like they were going to be in another ship, and there was going to be something, or the screen or the view screen wouldn't work or something. But I let it go. It was just a good old fashioned space submarine battle chase thing.
Yeah.
So it's fun. That's it.
Submarines? There were submarines in it? I missed that.
No, but you know how the old show used to be like,
Yeah.
What was the one with the Romulans? The Balance of Terror? Was that
Balance
the
of
first
Terror.
one?
Absolutely.
Right. And they would, they're like,
Sure.
It's like the Hunt for Red October, It's like, oh, we're gonna blow them up,
And Star Trek 2, of course.
And Star Trek 2, yeah. Even the Cloud, the Nebula thing was a Star Trek 2, or the whatever that was, the black hole, and they were around the rim of it, and I was like, yeah, all right, sure. Enough sci-fi techno babble to make it sound legit. You're like,
well, it's funny. Watch the Ready Room this week, and they've got their science advisor who will be happy to explain to you how they could do that in a black hole, which is fine.
Okay.
But it is interesting because, I always have respect for a lot of the science advisors. In fact, I forget the guy's name, but the previous science advisor actually became an active scriptwriter, and that's fine. But I saw both an article about this person and also watching the Ready Room. And here's a big red flag, and it has nothing to do with this episode. It has more to do with the second episode with Uhura and singing to the egg and all that crap. Yes, Andre Baramas. Thank you, Langley. Yes, indeed. That's the previous science advisor. So before they figure out what to do and everything, one of their crew members on the bridge goes, as we all know, space is really noisy. And it's like, no, it's not. No, they're in a vacuum. There is no noise.
There's no sound.
In space, no one can hear you scream if you want to do the alien definition. Ridley Scott, thank you. But also, no, exactly. It's like, no, nothing is close enough to make sound. It's like, so, and they're like, and there's no sound. So there's a problem. And it's like, no, that's outer space. And Jesus, we've known that since the Mercury guys. And what kind of science advisor are you that you let that fly? Now, again, the brown dwarf that's in this episode and the black hole stuff, okay, that's cool. I'll believe, again, I didn't do that. I didn't do that level of science, but I did know the basics that, no, there's no sound in space. So it's crap like that. And I got to admit, I understand what they're doing with the Gorn, obviously, and I do like that we didn't see them, and they're kind of taking that Jaws movie kind of thing of, hey, let's build up the suspense before we actually see them. But again, you can't, if you're any sort of longtime fan, you're like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
Spock is there. And then Spock is in Arena in the original series.
Oh yeah.
I know they're again, I just wish they would say, please, that.
Yeah, but you don't know, Johnny. Maybe he gets hit on the head and he can't remember
Yeah,
stuff.
exactly. Yeah, maybe that. Yeah, sure.
He forgot all about his sister, and
Yeah,
he didn't know he
exactly.
had a
Exactly.
brother.
He
Oh.
might have, yeah. I mean,
Ugh.
seriously, he might have got like space COVID and got
It's
that
just-
brain fog
and
thing.
as
You
much
don't
as
fuck-
I appreciated building the suspense about the monster this week, could have been anything. And here's an idea:
Yeah,
the show's called Strange New Worlds.
yeah.
Keep giving us Strange New Worlds. I mean, it's like, I mean, and
Well-
to their credit, let me finish. They have done that in the first 3 episodes. That's fine, or the first 2. Well, even the third one. But yeah, it's like, come on, man. Like, give us something new, please.
Yeah, and why did it have to be the Gorn? Now that you said that, I'm like, you know what? It could have been
Anything. The schmoes.
anything, really.
Yeah, the Schmendricks. We
Yeah.
have to watch out for the Schmendricks. So I don't know. I don't know. That really bums me out.
Yeah,
And-
that takes away from it. Now that you brought that up, I was
well,
like,
it's
because the ship was so weird looking. The design of it. It's like, wow, how does that thing fly through space? The Gorn ship, and then the other ones were coming at him. It's like, all right.
Langley agrees. It could have been an entirely different race. Also, Spock is the biggest secret keeper, not mentioning Khan, the Gorn, or his sister. You're damn right, man.
Oh yeah.
So, and Wayne agrees too.
He
Although
did,
says
he
the
did
Gorn
talk
think
about
it's
his
Gorn.
sister, though.
No, but when they meet
Well, we're
Khan,
like
Noonien
obviously
Singh-
original series, but yeah, both in the case of Khan and the fact that but technically you're right. I don't have a sister. I have a half sister. I have an adopted sister. I got to sit down.
He's like, I met your granddaughter one time. She was aboard the ship, but no one knows that.
Yeah, and also I don't know. Khan's La'an's backstory continues to frustrate me as well, because it's like, I don't know, man. If they're so anti-augment and her last name is Noonien Singh,
Right.
I have a feeling the Federation is keeping tabs on this person, unless we don't know. But I mean, other than Una, does the crew know that her full name is La'an Noonien? So maybe they or not?
No, but I'm saying the rest of the world, the whole galaxy, they don't know what happened to Khan and his people. As far as they know, they disappeared after the war. They don't know they're floating away in the Botany Bay.
But for someone, as we used the Vic Hitler example last week, for such a notorious historical name, and what original Montalban Khan was able to do during the eugenics wars, have control of a third of the planet.
Mm-hmm.
I just kind of believe. I mean, like the Capone family, for example, here in Chicago, we know where they are. We know the grandchildren, the great grandchildren, and stuff. So I don't know. Yeah, Langley says he likes the actress Lon. Christina Chong is her name. She's great. She's sexy as hell, but the Khan thing's a problem. Yeah. So
it could have been Khan could have been called a dessert, like a Napoleon. Once you're a world dictator, and then years later you're just like a dessert, like a Napoleon.
Well, I have a feeling that Spock and they're all going to get together and form a secret society where they don't talk about any relatives that they may have.
Yeah.
Well, that's a big secret society, man, because you got to put Dr. Bazinga in there. You got to put Una in there. Of course, Captain Pike. I don't know.
Everybody who's ever been on the Enterprise or ever will be on the Enterprise or ever heard of the Enterprise. Yeah.
Well, the other thing is I'm liking what's his name? Mimi, the blind Andorian guy. Hammer time.
Mimi. I like Mimi.
Yeah, Mimi's good. Mimi Hammer
time. I know something with an M. But I like how they got we're gonna blast you out into space. A vacuum. It's going to blow everything out the thing. Good thing we got these safety belts, these seat belts that we could just hook on. No, but it's kind of like that's the best you got.
Doesn't every vehicle have that?
Well, but it sounds like Air Force One.
Yeah, but it's I don't know what kind of tech could be used. I mean, I suppose they could have done it with force fields and given them a nice little glowing effect of them pinned, like remember the old carnival ride, the rotor?
Oh yeah.
And
the
stick to the wall.
Thing.
The centrifuge thing, exactly.
Yeah.
Hey, I got a malted milk I want to make. Can I bring that in the rotor with me?
Did you notice that number one was wearing somewhat? Remember, I mentioned the mini skirt thing about a week ago, and you said, "Oh, they'll never do that mini skirt."
No, I didn't notice that.
She had the short. I think she had leggings on, but she had the long
Did not
mini-
notice that.
the-
Did
oh,
not
yeah,
notice that.
Rebecca,
Well, but having
yeah.
the leggings, it's like, yeah, you're not gonna
Well,
you're not gonna get the Rocket
skin,
effect like we did back. God damn, I was watching an original series episode, and it's like, hey, look at Lieutenant Uhura and her lovely legs and those beautiful thighs. Yes, I'm
Yeah.
an asshole. I admit it. But it's like, gosh, and then a couple other like yeomen are walking around saying, uh huh. Thank you. Hey, let's let's have a few more of the yeomen walking around. Maybe having them bend over and pick up a thing or
well,
two.
Starfleet might
I'm
be
just
like,
Well,
spitballing.
that was like in the years after Pike, there was a fabric shortage because of
Yeah.
Okay.
some
Plus-
gorn attack on the fabric
Yeah.
planets.
it might be like
Okay.
Hooters where they wear the short shorts, but they got to wear the what he calls underneath the leggings or something. Just throwing it out there.
I don't know.
Maybe Spock forgot about that too.
Here, I want to.
Hooters in space.
That
We
Hooters in space.
we got some good comments. Let's see. Stuart Greenberg says one of the
Stu.
things that I was curious about is this is the first time we've ever seen the compression effect of the. Is this the first time we've seen the compression effect of a brown dwarf gravity? I think so.
I think so. I don't remember it from any of the other ones, but it was so famous. They're going to call this the Pike maneuver when it's over. I go, how about we live through this shit first before worrying about what they're going to call it? That was like odd. I'm like, hey man, we're going
I
to
have no problem with that. Yeah, well, that's like if we live through this type thing, you're gonna.
If we live, yeah.
Yeah. But we all know they're gonna.
We know.
Stuart says if Khan and his wife were augmented, how do they produce a non-augmented descendant? Is she not? First of all, is she non-augmented? Secondly, the historian that goes with Khan, I don't believe became augmented, unless Khan had a previous wife. I don't know. I guess you could invent that to also explain how she's a descendant of Khan and everything, but I don't know.
See, my problem with all these series and with Obi-Wan as well, which I liked, but my issue with all these series and not doing something brand new is that you've bookended yourself between these things, and now you're playing the script towards those things, and inevitably, you get a mess like we have with Michael Burnham and No Cybok and all this other stuff, because you're trying to weave your way in and out, and it's just not working for me in some instances. I'm really liking Strange New Worlds. I'm not liking the drama, like you said, the trauma that they're kind of interweaving in here. I wish they'd go with new characters, with new non-related characters, to kind of build this world, but it is what it is, and it's frustrating.
Yeah,
maybe they're trying so hard to make the old time fans happy that they're like, well, this is gonna not budge. We're gonna give them Gorn, we're gonna give them Spock, we're gonna give them Uhura, we're gonna give them Nurse Chapel, we're gonna give everything they know. We're not gonna try changing anything. It's gonna be just that little thing. Even the prequels, it was like Obi-Wan, Anakin. It's like there's a whole galaxy of people, but we only go back to the same 3 or 4 people every fucking time,
Yeah.
No, I'm with you. I also, and it kind of cracked me up at the very beginning of the show. All right, today is our important holiday in Starfleet where we honor our dead. And I understand it's Memorial Day weekend. I get it. All of that. And also another great opportunity to sell some merch, because, of course, all those different pins are available now at StarTrek.com for purchase. But it's like, Jesus, man. Again, all you people know is trauma. And, in fact, Christina Chong, I was watching her on the Ready Room being interviewed by and she said, oh, no, really, really leaned into the drama in this episode. And, I used my own personal drama to inform how I played this drama. And it's like, good Lord. And it's true, man. This is all they know. I appreciate the science that they did in this episode, but let's ask some scientific questions, or again, maybe some moral questions without giving us the answer right away and stuff. I don't know. I missed that level of Star Trek.
I did like how they killed 7 crew members, and they actually had the coffins, and they were going to send them out into space.
Make a new button. Now make a new button for next year's.
Next year to be Enterprise. They'll have both of them on there.
Exactly.
The only time we ever saw Kirk get upset was when that one crew member died who got married. Remember that? He married him in the beginning at the end of the
Balance of
episode.
Terror.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, same thing. Oh, maybe they were even trying to copy that too. They were like, hey, they killed one guy. We're going to kill 7 when we fight the invisible enemy that we don't know about, but we just hear about.
Interesting conversation I heard on one of the Trek reviews, and I hadn't thought about it, but I do agree. Guys like Gene Kuhn and Gene Roddenberry, who are so important, not only writing specific episodes, but also story editing and making them better or whatever. These guys were World War II veterans, so they saw real combat. And in fact, the writer, and no disrespect to the guy of episode 4, was also on the Ready Room. And he's like, oh, yeah, man, I studied Enemy Below and Run Silent, Run Deep and Hunt for Red October and Crimson Tide. And it's like, that's great. And I understand, man, because, yeah, we haven't been in submarine battles ourselves. Maybe you want to read a few World War II accounts of what it's like being in subs. Maybe get a real firsthand historic perspective on that rather than working on third-hand Tom Clancy or whatever. I don't know. Again, and I mean, well, they're not paying attention to Star Trek.
Well, story.
Why should they?
Yeah, that part of the story didn't bother me. Because it was dramatic and it did work for me. I thought, as Captain Pike, he was intelligent, he was smart and shot, from the hip when he had to make decisions and stuff like that. So I actually admired all that. God, Anson Mount is dreamy. I am like digging him big time,
Frank said the same thing. Frank's is like, I mean, you could not find a more prototypical leading man, square jaw.
I listened to your conversation with him, and he said that about Anson Mount, and I'm like, he's so right. He's exactly right.
He is dreamy. He is.
But
No.
They're making him, not only his looks, but his character, they're making him likable in my eyes. I think, his asides and his funny quips and stuff like that, but he's also smart and what you want a captain to be. So none of that story element bothered me.
Well, the only thing I would say is, again, much like the dynamic in Discovery, I do agree with you. I love Anson Mount, but it's funny. Collider had an article this week about how Captain Pike is redefining masculinity in the character, how it's written in that portrayal. And the only thing I would say is he still tolerates, much like before Burnham was captain, Saru and the Admiral and Lorca and these others, where it's no captain, it's the Gorn. We have to leave now. And it's like, all I'm looking for is a chain of command and just take a step back, Lieutenant.
Yeah.
Gather yourself. Explain why you think this. Because it's like, listen, it is good advice. However, he is the captain. So, it's like, the level of, if it's not insubordination, it's snark that he has to deal with. I'm just like, it's not, they do it to make contemporary dialogue, I suppose, to make it more relatable. But I think as long as you're speaking reasonable English, you don't have to go to that level. But it's like, okay. I mean, I don't think he's being stepped on, but he certainly is being challenged in a way that I understand junior officers are supposed to give alternatives. I mean, you go back to Decker and Kirk in Motion Picture. And you're right. You're absolutely right, Mr. Decker. I stand corrected. But yeah, I don't know, man. It just seems more, no, Captain, you're wrong. And it's like, easy. I don't know.
Yeah, I think you're being
being
bruised a little bit.
Again, I still like it. I mean, 4 in a row, I'm enjoying it. Man, they are really rolling the dice, I think, with next week's episode. With this week's episode with Amok Time. It's Spock Amok or whatever it's called.
Oh, that's this week?
Yeah. So get ready. They're not going to play that music because they're going to have to pay somebody else. Langley says it's far more egregious on Discovery than this, but I see exactly what you're talking about. Thank you, Langley. And it's funny. Wayne says that Henry Cavill's man crush by you, Franco, has been replaced.
There's enough room for both. I don't understand why we have to have one above the other. I just
even when he was Black Bolt in Doctor Strange, and of
Yeah.
course the Inhumans TV show, and you just get that scowl. It's like, yeah, he's the man.
spoiler, but yeah, I loved
He's
it.
the man.
Mhm.
Oh, that's hilarious. Wayne says it should be called Duck-a-Muck.
Duck-a-muck.
Hey, what's going on? I gotta go back to Vulcan so I can do some Pon Fair.
He doesn't have to face me now.
Face Spock.
Oh, she
What's
is.
the
T'Pring is hot.
Yeah, I'm a big fan, Langley. I agree with you, man. And Mitch, yes, no, T'Pring is gorgeous. It is
Yeah.
going to be interesting. If you don't want to be spoiled, don't watch the tease from the Ready Room this week, because that's where I saw the scene.
Oh, okay. I was
And,
like,
yeah.
where are you seeing this stuff?
Well, they always they post it. You can always find a tease.
I like to
of
be
the next episode.
surprised. I don't watch the Ready Room.
I'm with you, man. I'm with you. I got to be honest. I haven't seen Obi-Wan yet, just
Oh.
because I've been so busy this weekend. I'll probably watch it after we're done talking tonight. I meant to watch it this afternoon. I got busy, but I
did
how
like
is it?
it. I liked
Yeah.
it, but again, you know,
Yeah.
you're bookending yourself, and it's like, oh, there's so many other things we could have done.
Yeah.
But it was entertaining. I did find it entertaining.
It was.
But my pickiness with Discovery, with Strange New Worlds is, you know, why can't we just have a new crew, a new ship somewhere
An
else?
Alien.
Yeah. Mhm.
No, I mean, again, I love Christopher Pike as a character. In fact, I just bought. It was from 2008. I forget what it's called. Damn it, where's my my iPad isn't here. Or yes, it is. I'll stand by. But I've read several Pike books over the years, and I love them because I love the Cage, I love the Menagerie, and it's like, again, it was different. So it's like, ooh, tell us more about this guy. And it's Spock when he's, it's supposedly, even though it was really shot, 2 years before the show began, 64 or whatever, 65. It's like, oh, it's 9 years before Kirk and everything. And it's like, oh, that's really interesting. Tell me about that period. That's great. So I'm all for exploring Captain Pike. But yeah, the show's called Strange New Worlds. Give us,
what?
And also just give us the rest of the crew beyond Spock is different people, including number one. We only knew about her prior, from the pilot.
We're only 4 episodes in, but they're doing that much more than they did on Discovery 4 years drawn out, where I still don't know half the crew.
Yeah,
Right.
no, I was trying to do that the other day, but I was gonna
go ahead.
I was gonna say,
go ahead.
We know what happens to Pike, and then I'm thinking to myself, I'm already jumping the gun because I'm like, when are you gonna see the relationship between Spock and Pike, where he becomes so devoted to him that he's going to risk his career and risk a court-martial years from now on the old show to go save his captain and bring him to Talos 4 so he could live, even though he's, in a dream world, he could live a nice life the rest of his days. But I go, well, it's only been 3 episodes, and I'm already like, come on, cut to the chase. I want to see where suddenly he goes, you're my guy. Dude, I'll do whatever you want.
You know what would be pretty ballsy?
Learn the lesson from Smallville.
Don't
where it took
rush
10
it.
seasons before we finally got this. And
Yeah.
it's like, it's if it happens at all, as far as them referring to the chair, I think that is something for the final
here's
season.
one for you,
Go ahead.
because it's all, armchair quarterbacking. But would Spock in the old show have risked his life and career to save Kirk at that point after they'd only been together for like what, a year or two? What year was that? The first season? The Menagerie?
It's in the first season, but I think they already established. In fact, at the very end of the first part of the Menagerie, when Spock is calling Captain Kirk Jim, they're friends. They're deep. They're in a deep friendship, and that is and it is those times that Spock would drop, the level of professionalism and be like, "No, Jim, listen to me." And I even love it even in whatchamacallit. Has he called him Chris?
I was just going to ask you that. I don't think
know.
he's called him Chris yet. Even when they were sitting down in that little like, this is what's going to happen to me because I saw the Klingon Magic 8-Ball and it showed me I'm going to be in a wheelchair someday.
I'm assuming this is still year one Spock. By the time of the Menagerie, they say it's 9 years in the future and everything. I don't necessarily believe even though even including Where No Man Has Gone Before, that TOS's first season is necessarily their first season of the
Right
mission.
out of the gate. Okay.
Yeah, but whatever. I mean, it's all loose to
Well,
interpret.
the Strange New Worlds is the 5-year mission. So are we
Right.
like right in the beginning of that 5-year? Because they just got off the Discovery.
Well,
like within
not necessarily, because again, they were up and running as a crew during the second season of Discovery. Yeah, so no, we might only be. We already might, and in fact, like Pike is in that episode 1, burnt out. Not sure if he wants to come back. And April's like, "Hey, get your ass back to the Enterprise and resume your mission." Basically.
Well, he was burned out when we saw him in the Menagerie, the original Jeffrey Hunter. Remember,
but that's later. Yeah, but that's later. And yeah, no, I agree. Well, by the way, that's another interesting thing.
That wasn't later. That was before
No.
they went to Talos 4.
I know,
but they already had that happen.
I know, but I'm saying it was 9 years ago. We don't know if that was year 5 of their mission or whatever. I kind of felt that obviously this is an experienced Christopher Pike in Menagerie and the Cage, that, his career is frustrating him. And, he's getting tired of having people die, as he says, choosing who lives and who dies. I mean, again, there is a vast blank space between this first episode and getting to Pike in the chair. Again, it's not the destination, it's the journey. The journey is the story.
Well, you said him being burned out, but knowing that he's got only 10 years, do you think that gave him a new lease on life? Like, shit, I better enjoy what I got, because
I wouldn't have done it. I wouldn't have had him see his future. I think it contracts the universe, just like not only on that level, but also having all these familiar names and races just pop up. Space is giant. It's the final frontier. And now it's like, no, space is across the street.
It's like, before, what would be ballsy, but they would never do it, is if they take him and alter his future, and not make him who he is, or shunt him into a different dimension, or something other than what he's going to be. So that's what we see later on, is an alternate version or an alternate timeline.
The mirror Pike is the one that stayed behind and got
it's
the
a
chair.
wonder. Oh, you're hilarious. No, it's a wonderful life. Sure, if you don't do these things, this is what happens to everybody else.
Right.
I have no doubt that is in their mind, and sometime we will see, whether it's in the final season or next year, maybe even this year, but I doubt it, that we will see that kind of alternate thing. Before I forget, the name of the book, and I really recommend it, and I'm only a third of the way into it, and it's fantastic. It's called Burning Dreams, and it's by Margaret Bonanno. Margaret something Harold. What, not Harold? Harold. Let's say Margaret Bonanno, but Star Trek Burning Dreams. And it's a dual track story of him on Talos 4 after the Menagerie with Vina. And she's like, tell me everything about you. So you really get his whole life story, and you get him as a little kid, and he grew up on a colony after leaving Earth with his stepfather and his mother. And it's great. It's fantastic. And it's really, really interesting. And it fits. It really does fit. So, and there's trauma. There is absolutely trauma in there. But there's also, at the same time, because and it takes place years later, because it hasn't happened yet. But for some reason, he calls Spock, Ambassador Spock, to come to Talos 4. And even though it's still forbidden and stuff, Spock steals a shuttle and is able to do this because of his place as an ambassador. So I found that a very intriguing story, and I'm so into it. And like, that's kind of in the first chapter, and then it goes into just Pike and Vina talking about their lives before they met each other. It's great. And they even put in some fantastic stuff about Susan Oliver, the actress who originally played Vina, because along with her acting career, and also she became a director in a very tough time to be a female director in the 70s and early 80s. But she also was a commercial pilot, and she set some sort of small plane record flying, and they have Vina become a pilot as well. And I'm like, oh, that's a nice little, nod to Susan Oliver and everything. Because Susan Oliver, good Lord, what a great performance. I mean, you can, and I give it up to Melissa George. I think she did a credible job in that Discovery episode where they go back to Talos 4. She's a decent Vina. But Susan Oliver, my God, you fall in love with her just looking at her. Ooh. All right. So no
I like
comment.
it. I like it. I was
John just went on
mesmerized.
for 5 minutes, and exactly. Yeah, I'm sorry, John. I fell asleep halfway through what you were saying.
What?
So
Yeah.
Langley says, now that we have both Kirk brothers in season 2, I'm curious how they use their past dramatic history on that colony from Conscience of the King. That's right. Kodos, the executioner.
Yeah.
So,
maybe maybe Pike's got a brother, Spike Pike. He shows up too.
Stuart says alternative Pike and the Enterprise go to the future to avoid canon issues like Discovery.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah,
but yeah, exactly. And I mean, like your prediction, Franco Langley's like, I'm afraid they will, and he says that's totally a thing for this group of producers to do. 100%, man. I don't know. I don't know. And also, we'll see exactly. I don't want to reveal it. Langley knows what I'm talking about as far as what's happening in episode 5 and the teaser scene that they showed. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how it's handled. We'll see how Amok Time and Ponfar, if it is Ponfar, how it's handled and stuff. But yeah, it's interesting.
Speculation. Do you think the writers' room has a 3-year plan or 4-year plan, or they're just making it up as they go?
Oh no, I think they. I believe that, especially given the response to Pike prior to them setting this show up. Oh, I'm sure they've got a multi-season plan. I don't know how many seasons, but at very least a loose outline and stuff. But I do want to hear more from Henry David Thoreau, whatever his name is. It's not that.
He's alive?
I was going to say, what?
Wow.
The co-showrunner, Henry Myers. I forget what his name is, but he's there with Akiva in terms of being the co-showrunner and everything. But yeah, Akiva had a hard on for the Gorn, I guess, from the beginning. Like, I want to do the Gorn, and it's like,
who does it?
All right, whatever. Well, whatever, that's funny. And it says Fina will be revealed to be a Picard ancestor as well. Space is very small. Yeah. Yes. Or also prediction: Prime Universe Lorca shows up. I would love to see Prime Universe Lorca because I do love Jason Isaacs, and it kind of bums me out that that's all we got. I have a feeling that's it, and we're never going to see Prime Lorca. And then Prime Lorca is dead. David Banner is believed to be dead. Prime Lorca is believed to be dead, and he will let the world go on thinking he is dead unless he is used in this terrible reboot idea.
I hope Harry Mudd doesn't show up. And they start going, "Oh, we got all these other
Corn."
Yeah.
Well, I got to tell you, I'm of two minds on Harry Mudd. I do think he was made way too ultra sadistic. But that said, I really do love
Rainn Wilson.
Rainn. Yeah. I mean, so I don't know. It wouldn't surprise me because again, they're bereft of ideas. Which is sad.
They shouldn't be though. My God.
Mario asked, "Would you guys rather there was new Trek shows or what we've been given?" No, I want them to try.
I like this new one,
and it's improving. Yeah, I mean, no, it's improving. I mean, again, I really do believe they are listening to that half of the audience that is saying, "This is what we don't like. Please change this." So, I mean, again, I think they are trying because they even say, "Hey, we hear you." Okay, it's episodic.
You know what my buddy said? He goes, "You only like it because they made a show about gray-haired old men, and that's what you all are." And I go, "Hey, shut up now." He goes, "Seriously,
has he seen Anson Mount? Has he seen him?" Okay,
Anson Mount's making gray hair cool again. Look at that. I'm not gonna go touch.
He is a lovely, lovely man.
He is.
Langley says, "I'd rather there be bad Trek than none because it can always be improved." Absolutely, 100%. Yeah, I'm with you. No, and I don't buy that because you can't have a captain that's too young. I mean, they got to be experienced. I mean, Burnham aside, I don't know with Burnham, but I don't know. I just think.
I thought Kirk was the youngest captain of Starfleet.
Right. Well, and apparently, according to some of these books, Pike was the youngest prior to Kirk.
Oh.
I don't know. We haven't gotten to that point yet. But this is great. Like
Commodore
literally, this book, you see like Commodore Mendez.
Commodore Mendez, yeah.
Before he's the one who had to send Pike supposedly to save those kids and get stuck in the chair. And he's like warning him the whole time. He's like, "Get your ass out of there as soon as you can." Because those J ships are like, they were obsolete when I became when I became a
Mhm.
captain. And he goes, he goes, I'm one of the guys that is saying, let's get him out of service. That's what I mean. Like they are doing in the novels, and they always have. It seems to me they do fan service the right way because they throw in shit like that and say, oh, that's interesting. Okay, fine. That's kind of interesting. And instead of Gorn, it's like, I don't know. And yeah, like we said, half the Enterprise crew that we get to know in TOS and stuff. And yeah, they're giving them more to do. That's great. Yeah, I don't know.
It's almost they're giving him too much to do. No offense, but I was like, wow, Uhura goes from being an action star, and Nurse Chapel goes from doing all this cool stuff to just standing there going, here's the hypo spray, doctor. And then we got hailing frequencies open. What happened to the, action-packed superheroes? And now they're just sitting in a chair all day long, They
Well,
could
I
have
mean,
other crew members do stuff.
yeah, but given the time we're in now and the time the original series was done, we're in two different worlds now in our reality. So they're just doing storylines to service the characters. I'm fine with that. My other issues aside, I'm okay with that.
Right.
Well, also, I have no problem with Uhura jumping around from department to department because she's an ensign. And they pretty much explain it. Hammer even says, wow, when,
You get to know the ship, right? Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
also, but he says, man, a lot of people could give two shits about being in engineering for this portion of their internship or whatever that.
Right.
That's even better. They should make her a classic intern and stuff like
Yeah.
and just sir, can I have Tuesday off? My friends and I were planning this great beach jam.
Next thing
in
is
Rigel.
she'll be working in the gym. You remember they had the gym in the old Star. She'll be handing towels
Sure.
out for a week. What are you
Sure.
doing here?
Well, yeah.
Somebody's got
But
to do it.
I like that aspect of the history. If you're going on a starship, you need to learn what
Yeah.
this does. You need to learn what that does, and then you settle into what you do. I'm fine with that.
Michael Burnham didn't do that. She
I
knew
was
everything.
rewatching.
Because Michael Burnham knew everything as soon as she came out of the womb.
Well, again, she was, science officer or first officer to Giorgio prior to her disgrace.
Yeah.
So, she could have gone through all that. That's fine, whatever. But what I was going to say is I watched Court Martial, one of the TOS episodes, and they were down to a skeleton crew, and Uhura took because she was on where Chekhov sits, not where Sulu sits. But she was one of the few that was still on the ship, and she jumped in and was at Chekhov's station doing what she needed to do. And it's like, no, that's good because again, she's part of even though she's got the red shirt and everything, she is part of the command structure. And no, she should be more capable, just like Scotty is, and Sulu
everybody should know.
Chekhov.
Everybody should know first aid. Everybody should know. Yeah, it's
or even the basic stations of running the bridge or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So no, I'm cool with that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm very cool with that. It doesn't bother me. Stuart says if you look at classical Uhura, she was pretty damn competent. 100%, man. They didn't give her a lot to do, but I think she's great. And I agree with Langley. I loved Hammer correctly explaining what an actual pacifist is too. I really like Hammer. I think there is a lot of similarities to Odo in Hammer.
Yeah.
And I like that kind of, I like that kind of character. And I wouldn't mind if there were females that were a little more disgusted or whatever. And I suppose you can say that about La'an to a degree. But, yeah, I don't know. It just seems, I'm sure Hemmer's trauma is coming.
Well, I thought when his hand got crushed, I go, oh no, already you ruined that character? Because it'll be like, I can't do my job because I only have one hand now because of the thing.
I can't open soda cans anymore because of my hand. Trauma.
Yeah. Wiping my butt is going to be really hard.
I was a little freaked out when they put those suits on and his antenna was under the hood.
I saw that.
Like, what happened?
What did they do? They snap back or something like that? Like
that's hilarious. They're very supple.
Or they should have had little holes that just came out the top.
That would have been fantastic.
Like fingers.
Right. That's
or like little or periscopes.
Yeah.
Hey, let me figure out what's going on.
It'd be cool if they started moving on their own. Wasn't there one of those?
Yeah, they used to do that with Shran and Enterprise.
Yeah. I was going to say they've done that. Yeah.
So I don't know why they haven't set that up. But
well,
you know why?
He's blind. So
he's blind.
I don't know. I also liked I also liked in terms of the fight with the Gorn ship that they kind of did a sonar kind
Yeah.
of riff and everything, and I thought that was very cool. So Langley says the only people left for trauma are Ortegas and Chapel. Yeah, I
Now
suppose maybe.
she's gonna fall in love with Spock sooner or later, right? 'Cause
Well,
she had
that's
a
why I'm
heavy
very
crush on him.
curious to see how they do this episode coming up, episode 5. And I mean,
Oh.
it's in the title, Spock amok, and it's like it's funny. I was watching guys talk about Star Trek 3,
Yeah.
and when Spock is aging rapidly from being dead, and he and Savick have to get down because of Pon farr, and it's like eventually he was his age again that he was when he was killed, and it's like, was that the only Pon farr that they had to do? I mean, he really is still young when the Klingons catch him, but it's like,
Well, I mean,
hey,
come on.
Savick, we got to do it again. I'm sorry.
No,
Yeah,
Johnny,
exactly.
Really
no.
horny.
That was a compressed amount of time, and if you have to
Exactly.
It was.
perform after another 7 minutes, that takes a lot of OJ. You got to get your fluids back. You got to, it takes time. You can't
To
just jump.
recuperate?
Yeah, you can't just jump back in, Johnny.
Please,
Come on.
Lieutenant. Well, the other interesting subtext thing was in 4, why
Yeah.
Savick doesn't go back with them in time. It's like, is she pregnant with Spock's kid?
Oh no, he just blew her off. It's like, don't you remember me? He's like, who are you again? One night stand. Yeah.
Spock,
I don't know,
Spock
man.
doesn't remember anything.
No, he
Like
doesn't. It's
sister,
like,
who he
Your
did it
name is
with,
Jim.
nothing.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Mhm.
I don't know. And Langley says the same thing. I had that same thought about Star Trek 3. Because we're dirty guys, Langley. We can't help it. Wait a minute. Here's a Trek sex question.
Give me that tribble, will you?
That's a new book that we should write. The Sex of Trek. We should do that.
Trek sex.
I'm all for it.
Trek Sex.
Well, we need at least just one book alone about Captain Kirk's conquests. I was watching The Gamesters of Triskelion. And
yeah.
Angelique Pettyjohn. Great name, first of all. The lady in the
big hair,
with
the
the
silver hair.
with the big hair and the silver the tinfoil bikini. It's like,
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah.
So good stuff. They actually did a Strange New Worlds. Strange New Worlds was also the title for Trek readers, and I'm sure you'll know this, was the title for they would have a contest every year for the best short stories from fans. And they would publish them in Strange New Worlds, and there's like at least 10 volumes of them, and they're a lot of fun. It's fan service, but they're a lot of fun. And they went back to that woman from the Gamesters of Triskelion because she's like, "Take me with you," and he's like, "Oh, Shauna, I can't take you with you. I've got a whole galaxy of women to bang. There's a woman from a Roman world that's waiting for me."
Yeah.
But
We
but,
don't allow
and she's-
tinfoil on the ship. Yeah.
but she's crying and she's like, "Goodbye, Jim Kirk. I'll remember and I will learn," and all this stuff. And they do a movie era original crew going back to the world, and she's the ambassador of the world, and she's like so excited. She's like, "Will he remember me? Oh my God," or whatever. And of course, much like Bill Clinton and his former conquests, "Hey Peggy, how are you?"
Yeah.
So he's like, "Yeah, Shauna, how you doing? It's Jim Kirk. You damn right I remember you."
Yeah.
But it cracked me up. And again, oh my God, oh, toxic masculinity. This is terrible.
No. Is the strange the book you're talking about, was that by a guy, James Bliss? I had this book in the 70s when I was a kid.
Well, that's
and it
one
was
of
like
them.
all these short stories, and it was him.
Yeah, that's different.
DC
That's
Fontana.
different.
Yeah, they all had like
No,
little,
it was only Blish. It was they took the original series episodes and they turned them into short stories. No. These are original, new, strange short stories that hit every era of Star Trek. The other shows and everything else, and they're written by fans, and they were short stories, and they'd get like a money prize as well as getting a writer credit, which is kind of cool. There was a great story with from The Voyage Home, Jillian, the oceanographer, and Carol Marcus working together. And that's why it's like, oh, okay, that's an interesting story. And again, lots of fan service. I don't deny that. Hundreds of it. And Langley's right. It was in the early 2000s. Fan submitted short stories. Absolutely. So Wayne says the number of Kirk kids has to be in the thousands. That's true.
Yeah, that's a whole planet.
Populated the whole
whole planet. Yeah, the
entire colonies.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, Langley says he tried to enter that contest for Strange New Worlds as a kid. Sure, man. And also, he's right. Jesse Gender, one of the fine Trek analysts, that I appreciate. They have a great series on sex in Star Trek as well through the decades.
Damn, they took our idea.
Yep.
Boy,
Son of a-
Paramount was very lenient with their properties to let people do all this stuff. Or did you go
Oh no, it was
into this
authorized.
knowing that, it's like, I'm going to write
no,
this,
it was-
but I don't
yeah.
own anything. I know I'm not going to own.
Well, they sold their story and they
rights.
got paid for
Yeah.
it. No, they got paid
Yeah.
for it. So I mean, it's not like
Well, it's just like a writer for hire thing. Yeah.
Yeah. And it was it was a fun. Honestly, they're a lot of fun. There's a lot of really interesting stories there. There's one about Amanda, Spock's mother, her sister, who could never really get used to Spock being, half Vulcan and everything, and not that she was prejudiced, but it was just so weird. And you've got movie era Spock going back to Boston to visit her and connect with her and his human cousin. And it's like, that's interesting. Okay, that's kind of cool. And again, it's like, all right, here's a different point of view of our classic characters and stuff. And it's like, yeah, what about that? I mean, yeah, we never knew if she had her sister or not, but it's like, that's kind of cool. So yeah, in fact, yeah, as Langley said, Star Trek was always very fan friendly until the Axonar debacle. Absolutely.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's when they put they said no more of this stuff.
Well, they just they put a tighter leash, which on the one hand I get it and I don't mind, because Star Wars did it with fan films. But Star Wars was great about it. They are like, hey, we'll help you make your own film. Here are actual visual, special effects assets that you can incorporate in your fan films, stuff like that. I mean, it was much more helpful. Whereas, again, Star Trek is like, no, mine. And I get it, but it's too bad because we got a lot of great fan films before they put the handcuffs on everything.
No, real quick on Star Wars, they just had their big celebration event this weekend, and they announced, here's a new series coming from Disney, Tales of the Jedi, where you're going to hear all these little backstories and stuff. And I go, as much as I love that idea, the fact that Dark Horse did it in the late 90s and early 2000s with that whole series, Tales of the Jedi, I go, it's not an original idea, so you should give a little credit to the guys that did it 30 years ago that came up with these characters, and Jan Durisma and John Ostrander. They wrote all these fantastic stories.
They're
about
great stories, but I think the idea of telling other Jedi tales is common enough that you can't really, we came up with that. It's like, no. And also, they were always working with Lucasfilms anyway. So, Lucasfilms owns these general ideas and they can take what they want. Just like Star Trek can take what they want. I see your point, Mitch. I just don't think it's as direct of a connection as, say, number one, Una's backstory. Hold on. Una's backstory that came from that DC Fontana novel, and it's very specific. And for them not to credit that very specific thing, I think is more egregious. Please continue.
No, I was going to say, I just like how they just say, we thought of this new thing. It's like, well, it's going to have been around for a while, but there is this weird thing where the company
I think it's generic enough. Yeah,
they can pick and choose what they want. Like the Timothy Zahn Star Wars, or on Star Wars, but it said the center of the universe, the planet's called Coruscant. And then Lucas is like, I like that. They already established that. I'm going to take that name and incorporate it into the movies. I'm like, wow, these guys are doing all your heavy lifting. When you pick and choose, But
speaking from the creative side of things, when you sign up to work on something like, I've been hired and I work on Superman, I know that whatever I create here and I put into these stories will not belong to me. It belongs to DC and canon and Superman canon. I get that going in. That's the deal you make. That's the deal they make. So like if he comes up with Coruscant and then George Lucas is like, I own that. I can use that. It's not
So what did you guys
compensation
think
should be given.
That's what I was going to say. Are you happy with the special thanks to that they do? Like, special thanks to 20 names on the bottom.
Yeah, that's a completely different story, but yeah.
Well, again, I don't know how much money goes along with that credit, but I'm glad that credit is there because then they can point that out. I mean, it's again whenever they're going for whatever their next jobs are in genre fiction, whether it's books or movies or whatever.
But
I came up with this concept. See, they
should be compensated. Yeah,
of
they
course
should be compensated.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. No question. So in general, without spoiling, don't tell me any detail whatsoever. What do you guys think of Obi-Wan so far?
I enjoyed it. Again, within within the parameters of that bookend,
Yeah.
it's a little annoying, but I enjoyed it enough where I want to see what happens.
Okay.
I want to see where they go with it. Yeah.
And it's 6 episodes, right?
It is 6 episodes. They
So we
already
got
put
2
2
out.
up there.
Yeah. Okay.
I
Okay.
like it, but I also think this is not what. If George Lucas was still involved, I don't think he would have done this with Obi-Wan. This is not like his character anymore.
You know, man, again, I point to the Popcast, and they did a big before the show dropped thing about Obi-Wan, and they even pointed out Lucas's wife,
Marsha?
shitting hard on the sequels, and just like,
Yeah.
man, you guys don't get it. And it's like, and she's like, I'm available. Call me.
Yeah.
And according to them,
Yeah, like that's the first
podcast
thing they're going
guys,
to do, right?
but she apparently was very involved with the creation of Star Wars and came up with a lot of great ideas and stuff. Yeah, I mean, I'll totally admit I'm so much more of a Star Trek person than a Star Wars person. I like Star Wars a lot, and I just, like I said, I got busy. I promise I will be caught up before our next episode because again, we're gonna have an avalanche of shit starting this weekend. You got, and I know it's Francis's favorite. The Orville's coming back, but the boys are also there. We're going to be 3 episodes into Obi-Wan. I mean, there's just a lot of, and I'm sure I'm forgetting stuff, and people in the peanut gallery, feel free to mention the other stuff that if it's not dropping this week. And then let's keep on TV because I know movies are coming too.
Oh, God,
But June is like, I know Only Murders in the Building. Season 2 is going to be later in June. The boys, Langley says, the boys
that's
back.
right. Yeah.
So yeah, man, there's a lot of cool stuff. Stranger Things, that's right. Stuart says that.
It just dropped. Yep.
So yeah, man, there's a lot of genre fiction. It's very interesting because that's interesting. Wayne says he's not sure if Canada's getting the Orville up there. That's too bad. I hope you guys do. Man, I'll tell you, I did not realize how many season 2 episodes I had missed. When it was originally aired and stuff. And I think it was just like, maybe it was because of the World Series or something. I'm not sure.
Did they move it around a bit?
Yeah, season 2.
Because I missed a couple too, and I'm like, when was this one on? I think they did move stuff around or something.
I think I think we were East Coast and Central and the center of the States, Mitch. I think that's why, because it's kind of like when football games on Sunday.
It was on Sunday, yeah.
No. It was on Thursdays. It was on Thursdays.
I thought it was on when the Simpsons were on, like at 9:00 sometimes.
Oh, it maybe you're right.
Because it was Monday. I was thinking of football was go late on Fox, and then they'd like move things around.
We now join the show already in progress.
Yeah, and I'm like,
whatever.
What the hell? Or the DVR would tape at the wrong time, and you're like, wait, where's the show? Because it's not on right.
Right. Yeah, the show would start at like 8:20 or whatever.
That always happens out here with Lois and Superman and Lois, because the New York affiliate is the New York Yankees channel. So if there's a Yankees game, they'll preempt it for that, and then they'll put Lois and thing on Saturday night. So it's like, wait, what happened? And Ordway's like, did you watch it? I go, it wasn't on. He goes, yes, it was. And because I taped the New York's the feed, so it doesn't get
that happened to us in Chicago with Deep Space Nine, because it was on the Cub station, and literally the episode before it would get preempted or replaced in the schedule, there'd be a crawl during the last 5 minutes. Make sure you catch the next episode of Deep Space Nine at a special time, Friday night at 11:30 p.m. And it's like, God damn it. And yeah, there were a handful of seasons where I'd miss episodes and stuff. I certainly pounced on them. And it was really frustrating during the final season with that 10-part story arc. It's like, come on, man. Just move the goddamn show so it's not opposite Cub games. Jesus.
You think we're going to start seeing Bajoran showing up on that soon? Because they haven't touched them in a long time.
Well, that is a very interesting question, because the Bajorans were under occupation by the Cardassians. We don't know how far back that goes. The Cardassian war against the Federation ended sometime during the Next Generation, either early or right before the Next Generation era. So I would assume if we were to look at Cardassians or Bajorans, it would be with them subjugated as occupied by Cardassians. I don't believe so, because I also think Oh, that's nice. Mario says happy anniversary. That's quite all right. Thank you. Yes, this month was Word Balloon's 17th anniversary back in May 10th. But
Wow.
yeah, I don't know, man.
Well, they've gone to every other alien race now. It's like the only one I haven't seen in a long, long time is the Bajorans. Other than Discovery having a couple in the background with the
well,
the
yeah,
president
yeah,
of the
because
Federation, she was kind
well,
of
and
like half in
right,
that.
but also that character Adira has a, or no, that's Trills. That's right. Those aren't
Yeah,
Bajorans.
yeah, yeah,
You're right.
yeah, yeah.
They're
Trills.
Trills. No, you're right. The president of the Federation is half Bajoran, half Cardassian. She's got the ridges and she's got the spoon imprint.
Yeah.
That must have really hurt. The Michael C. Fina Silver Company would stamp the spoons on every Cardassian before they were out there. Oh, that's funny. Stuart says we need Ferengi.
Yeah.
I don't know if I
Well,
want to.
no, they never saw what they look like until Picard. Remember?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's not going to
Okay.
happen.
Well,
we don't know what they look like. They clothe their women. That whole shit that they did with the furry Ferengis with the laser whips and.
But they also,
God,
I mean, but didn't the star? Or no. I was going to say, didn't Picard encounter them with the Stargazer? No.
no,
the
he never saw
Ferengis
them.
found the Stargazer
Yeah.
and restored it and screwed with Picard and everything. So yeah. Yeah, I'm trying to think. I mean, who else could you? I mean, again, technically, you can't see Romulans because
Can't see Romulans yet.
because that
Klingons
doesn't
they've
enter
already showed.
again. But again, they fucked with the
See,
Gorn. So what's to
The
stop them from fucking with the other
Tholians,
ones?
they've already gone.
But this is where you trap yourself when you bookend things, is because we already know what species are in Starfleet. We know
Yeah.
what's been happening in Next Generation and Deep Space Nine and all that other stuff. So, this is where, like, if you introduce a brand new alien race, what are you going to retcon them? So, okay, this is classified. We'll never talk about them again. Yeah.
Strange New Worlds. It's in your title. Do it. And again, I don't see it as a problem. I see it as an opportunity. You have more than enough fan service in this crew that you've assembled. So give us new problems and new ideas. Again, you've got potentially 5 to 7 to 9 years of blank space between Pike and Kirk that you can fill in with a bunch of other aliens and complications. I don't know.
What were those pig-nosed people that were like, what do you think?
Yeah, the Tellarites.
Tellarites. Yeah.
We saw
They
them in
haven't done it.
Enterprise, but sure. What were they like 10 years before Kirk?
Yeah.
Sure. Before Journey to Babel. Classic. Love it. But yeah, again, it's that stuff is just it's too easy. And it's like I don't know. And also I feel like they are, and I said this last week as well, they are whitewashing what they perceive as the sins of the original series through Pike and through this crew. In terms of, well, like I said, all right, we're gonna bring back the short skirts, but make sure number one's got leggings. We don't need to see Rebecca Romaine's beautiful legs. And it's okay. I get it. It's fine. But I think you can do it and still color within the lines. I think Enterprise was able to do that. God, I mean, look at how they brought the Borg on Enterprise.
Yeah.
Dovetailing from First Contact, but still doing it in a weird, mysterious way that they're like, we don't even know what the hell we're dealing with here. What the hell's
So you think if they had a character on the show now that was going around banging everything that moves, that would be like, oh God, we're not doing that.
Oh yeah, I that can't
They
even.
would never do that. Yeah.
I don't think they would ever do
it was such a part of the old show. Like every week, Kirk had a new woman.
Again, you're working within the time frame of our reality. And we're in the 2020s, and that was in 1960 something. Yeah,
I know.
I mean, it was not a big deal for Mannix or the sheriff of your favorite Western or whatever to have their way with whoever the female guest star of the week was. That was the 60s. And I'm not saying it was right, but I also think you can still portray James Kirk and just, okay, fine, that's part of the original series, but you don't have to. There are so many other aspects to Kirk that you could hopefully. Well, we'll see what the hell they do with him next year.
I was watching an episode. I was watching an old episode of Dick Van Dyke where Maury Amsterdam, what's his name on the show? I forget.
Yeah, Buddy Sorrell.
Buddy. Yeah. He tells the bald guy, he goes, "Why don't you just go shoot yourself?" And I'm like, ooh, like, that wouldn't fly in any show on TV today.
That's true. Yeah, things have changed. As Stu said, Riker was banging He was
Yeah.
a
But
horn.
again, that's
He was a horn
again,
dog.
yeah, and that was the 80s. It's like, listen, it is so fine to have the attitude of we don't need that anymore in Star Trek because there are so many other things to explore.
Yeah.
But then again, we did have Pike getting down with that other captain in the first episode.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So I don't know, but I don't think they will be as hopping from alien bed to bed because also that's in some ways that's
But
kind of screwing with the prime
and
directive.
in the same breath that you say that would never happen on Star Trek, yet there's a show called Bridgerton on fucking Netflix, and
Yeah.
that's all it is a slam fest, and everything in these little soap opera things you see is done tastefully, but it's all about who's banging who. But yeah, if you put it in space, suddenly you're being this like James Bond
Well,
lecherous
I
slob.
don't I don't know that they would. I'm not saying that they won't do something like that. I'm just saying the way they would do it
The way they do
would be much different than
it.
Kirk. Hey, bang you, bang you, bang you.
No, no, I'm just thinking. I
yeah.
know because sex still sells, obviously, because there's soap operas every day and stuff. But I'm just like, I guess they would just go about it differently, you know. Oh,
I
well.
like Wayne's comment.
Yeah, Picard banks every fourth season. That's
Look at him. My God, off of his new show, he was going after the whatever her
Laris.
name was, Laris. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. We'll see.
Mhm.
Laris had beautiful luggage at the end of episode 10 of Picard season 2. She had fantastic luggage. That's what I was looking at. I'm like, man. I'm like, those are very.
Where do I
nice
get a set of
bags.
those?
Yeah, exactly. They were this beautiful white leather. It was very
Oh,
nice.
I thought it was like a new term the kids are using for some body part. I'm
Hey,
like,
nice luggage over by there. I'm checking out Laris's luggage. Hat.
She's got to have a luggage rack to carry all that luggage.
Yeah.
Exactly. Nice.
Wow.
Yeah. What other again, watch the Ready Room and they are very clear about what the MO of today's Star Trek is, and that is absolutely everyone should feel like they belong and they could be part of Star Trek. And that is so like that's what Will was saying, and that's what
that's
Christina
what it was
Chong was saying
55 years ago. It's always been everybody's part of this.
Well, I perceived it to be sure, but you got to do the work, and also there's a military standard, and now it's like no,
confident.
Well, yeah, and again, I think we're getting a better example of that in Strange New Worlds, but I do still think it's like they're all about tragedies and how do you cope with tragedy when you have to do this job, and it's like, you don't, I'm sorry, you got a job to do, you are on a mission that, as we even saw in this great episode this week, the smallest thing can happen and really screw things up. And we need your focus. We don't need you crying about whatever childhood trauma. I don't care about Khan's brother. I don't care. The mind meld was very interesting because once again, that is even more damning of why doesn't Spock know about La'an and the Khan connection if he was just in her mind, because it isn't just, hey, we got to search for this. Although I suppose she did show some sort of mental ability to block what she didn't want Spock to see. And that also both suggests that there are augment powers, and maybe that is their escape hatch from him not knowing about Khan from the mind meld.
In one of the drafts of Star Trek The Wrath of Khan, if I recall, there was supposed to be some kind of mental battle between Kirk and Ricardo Montalban's character. It wasn't like a physical thing. It was cerebral. Right. Sure. So maybe they did have some kind of mental telepathy powers or something like that.
No. And I'm saying that could very well be in terms of another augment power that that we didn't see directly.
Right.
No, I'm okay with that. But yeah, it's just initially I'm like, well, wait a minute. Again, Spock's doing the mind meld. Why doesn't he know everything?
Remember the Omega? Was it the Omega Factor? What's that episode with the
one with the Constitution?
Omega
Glory?
Yeah. The Omega Glory. And remember when Spock uses like the Jedi mind trick to get that girl to go over and open up the communicator so they know where to beam down? I'm like, he's never done that again. He never did it in the movies or anything, but he was just like, I'm making a suggestion. And he was just like, you will go pick up the communicator.
Yeah. What's wrong with that?
Well, I'm just saying, it's one of these forgotten abilities that the Vulcans have that never got touched upon.
That's true. So. No, you're right. And again, I would say that the fact that they can do mind melds and also the way he cured Dr. Van Gilder, also played by the same actor who played Captain Tracy in the Omega Glory from Dagger
Oh
of the Mind.
yeah.
He helped this guy who was like schizo and everything kind of figure out his thoughts much better and everything. So no, I think there is that kind of mind manipulation power that the Vulcans who do perform the mind meld are able to do. Lenley says, I will say that Strange New Worlds does a better job of not letting the trauma lead every decision the characters make, like Discovery and Picard. They aren't crying every week. I disagree, Langley. They're crying every fucking week.
I don't.
And in fact, like I said, the opening scene is, hey, it's our trauma holiday.
Yeah.
Let's all remember. And it's like, I don't know, whatever. So
speaking of comic books, though you're not, is there any word of Captain Pike comics on the horizon from IDW or anybody?
Oh, I'd be shocked if they aren't in development. I don't know, but I do know that we've gotten Captain Pike comics before. Again,
Yeah.
Marvel had that excellent series that sadly, when the license was up, they were in mid-story. And they're like, sadly, this is, we're ending on a cliffhanger.
You make up your own story.
Issue, which is too bad. But no, I would think it's a given that we will get Strange New World IDW comics. And that's great, because I do think there's real opportunity there. And usually the comic stories, I can't speak to Discovery just because I don't care. But most of the stories they do are really good and worthy of whatever iteration of Star Trek they're doing. I told my buddy Dave Baker did a fantastic Voyager story that was set around season 4. It's like right after 7 of 9 joins the crew, but she's still kind of new and figuring everybody out. And it's like, this easily could have been a great episode. I think the Timoys are great writers, and I think I forget the other guys that are writing and stuff, but JK's doing a great job art-wise, Gordon Purcell. So many of these people that are working on new Star Trek comics, they're killing it. It's great. So, Lammy says, in this episode, yes, with Lon, but overall, I think the other characters are far more professional than Discovery's crew. Yeah, I agree. Totally. So,
yes.
Anything else?
I think speaking of Will Wheaton, this weekend coming up, I'm going to be at AwesomeCon in Washington, D.C., and he's going to be there. I believe so. Yes, along with Anthony Rapp and I forget the actor's name that plays the Doctor on Discovery.
Oh, Wilson. Wilson Cruz, Pablo Cruz. Yes. No, so, that's cool. That's cool.
So if you're in the Washington D.C. area, come see me. I'll be there.
Don't forget about Terrificon at the end of July.
Another adjective Comic-Con.
As excited as we are for the return of the Orville, well, at least 2 of us are. Mitch has 5 of the 7 main crew members.
I do. I got to announce more this week, so that's what I'm doing
exciting.
after we hang up. Make some graphics.
I was watching these Orville episodes and sleeping with the sound on, and it crept into my dreams, and I had the weirdest dream that I was having dinner with the actors. and I guess because I was thinking about Terrificon and stuff.
It might happen.
And it was so funny. It was great. It was hilarious. I'll tell you guys off the air the thing I can't reveal where I felt really bad.
I was gonna say, what did you have?
Oh, I can't remember what we ate, but no, we were around this like weird like dinner table. It wasn't my house. I don't know what house in my memory. Was
Seth MacFarlane there? Because he's not coming to the show.
No, it was
everybody
Bortis,
but him. Yeah,
it was Bortis and Grayson. The
Kelly.
first officer, Kelly.
Yeah.
And John and Gordon.
Scott.
So yeah, at least those 4, and then also Bortis's husband.
Yes, that was the fellow that was on The Walking Dead.
Do we know? Is this the final season of Orville, or
no? What happens is I've been told what they told me, since they work there, is if the show gets obviously good reviews and ratings and all that stuff, numbers, they're going to throw the switch and do season 4. But this season, I've been told, is not like the other episodic ones. They're more like mini movies. They spent a shit ton of money.
Yep,
that's a technical term, and they made these epic episodes, like like I said, like a feature film type of thing going on.
Like are they continued like 1 or 2, 3 episodes, or are they just like done in one type of episodes?
We will see.
I had heard that there will be episodes, but that there are stories, themes that will continue through the whole season.
Right.
But that's how the second season especially was.
Yeah.
Right.
With their main villains, the Krill and things like that. So,
let's see if they get any better this year.
Oh, they had that good 2-parter with Isaac when they had the whole Planet Isaac's fight. And I thought
Show sucks.
Oh, that was good.
Nuts.
That was really interesting. Yeah, I don't disagree, man.
We don't insult Terrificon guests.
I'm not insulting the guests. I'm saying how much I don't like the show.
It's
All right,
okay.
that's fine.
I'm just if I'm Disney,
yes,
I am so ready to pull the trigger on let's really lean into the Orville, because I really do think the potential is there. It's only been 2 seasons, and they are doing Star Trek in a way that current Star Trek just doesn't seem to want to do. And I mean, again, I go to specific episodes where it's like, okay, they've got this belief. And it's like, that's interesting. Right now, we've had obstacles, again, in Strange New Worlds. We haven't had real, like, philosophical questions. There was an episode of Orville from second season. I say this because it's already there, and it's several years old, and Francis is not going to watch it. But they had a society. It was a first contact episode, and they had a society that was just getting into exploring space. But their society was dictated by astrology, and if you were born under a certain sign,
I remember that episode.
That was a really great, silly premise, but it worked, and they got to do a lot of interesting things within that premise. Kelly and Bortus are born under that sign, so they're taken away and taken to a prison camp and everything, and a whole bunch of stuff. And also, there's a birth in the prison camp, and that birth happens during a good sign. So the government is prepared to take the child away from the parents that are in the prison camp, because the daughter is going to be a great leader, is prophesized to be, because they're born under that sign. It's like, that's interesting. Where are these stories in Star Trek? I thought so. Whatever. Stuart says Orville is science fantasy with science fantasy rules, not a negative. I disagree, Stuart. I think Star Wars is
science fantasy.
I think Orville is science fiction. I mean, it's not high-minded.
No,
Ben Bova, Arthur C. Clarke science fiction, but it's
next gen science fiction.
Yeah. Yes. Look at Dyson Sphere.
Yeah,
I love that. I mean, it's they and again, sure, there might be too much humor for Francis's taste or whatever. I think they're taming it down. And I think, much like a lot of shows, they had to figure themselves out. And I really think they did by the second season. And Francis, I don't know, man. Isaac's world and the all Android world and stuff and all that stuff that was played out in the second half of the second season. Yeah, I thought it was great. I thought it was scary in a good way.
It was creepy as all fuck.
And I think based on that 5-minute tease that they did of the first new episode, they're leaning into that even more.
Yeah, you're right. They definitely they were going for that jokey Family Guy humor in the first season, and it didn't work. And they were like, "Oh, we don't need this." And you could tell there's a change in direction of the show. And then it got serious. I thought it
is that character
Bob the Blob.
Seth MacFarlane was dating the security head, and she left the first season. Is she coming back this season, or?
I don't think so.
No,
By the way, they're not even together anymore as a couple.
No.
So.
Well, I understand that, but I didn't know there was some rumor. I read something about some rumor about her coming back during the season, or they wanted to come back, or I don't know.
Well, she was in that alternate universe episode.
Right. Well, that's what I mean, because she did show up. Right.
You're right. I don't think so, but I don't know. I mean, I think it would only diminish the new woman that was from the same race that they brought in, and I like her. I do think Halsey or Halston is her name, not Halsey.
Jessica Soar is the actress that plays her, because
that's the current actress.
Yes. There's the one.
I'm talking about the original one, though.
Oh, yeah.
Halston Sage, I believe, is her name.
Yeah. She was in that serial killer Fox on show on Fox with not David Tennant, the other English actor. I forget his name. They were in Good Omens with David Tennant.
I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, and Jesus from
That guy.
Walking Dead was the son of a serial killer, and she was a sister.
Yes, Norm Macdonald did the voice. By the way, I just saw
Yes.
someone ask.
Yeah, I was gonna say that, and also according to David Goodman, who was one
He
of the-
finished all
He
his
did
stuff
it.
before
yeah,
he passed
yeah.
away.
So we will hear him in season 3, which is great.
Mm.
Dante says, I assume that one of the reasons why she's not coming back, she just graduated from Cornell. I didn't realize, however old she is, that she might be that potentially young. But yeah, no, she had a quality that I don't think what's the current security person's name, the actress.
Jessica Soar.
Jessica Soar. I think Jessica Soar is fine, and I think they gave her some really good episodes. But I have to say, I really liked Halston Stage, and I was rewatching a couple of the early season 2 episodes before she went away.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I don't know, she just had something. I don't know. It was because there's an innocence about her versus Janet's portrayal, which I think is a more experienced person. And there's nothing wrong with either portrayal. I just kind of like the innocence. Oh,
Yeah.
Mario says Michael Sheen was who you were trying to think of, Francis.
Yes, Michael Sheen. Thank you, Mario. Yes.
So there you go. Very cool.
Cool.
Like it. Like it a lot. Yeah, man. I don't know. That's what I know. Again, we'll see how man, maybe they'll make it 5 for 5. Again, I like the show enough. I literally do look forward to it. There's a lot to like here. Again, we're all gaga over Anson Mount. I think Rebecca
Romaine.
Yeah.
Rebecca Romaine Lettuce is killing it, and I like Dr. Bazinga. Again, I can look.
Yeah, I think we just tend to be nitpicky about the things that were in Star Trek, but when you go so off the rails as Discovery does, we're like, yeesh, ooh, stop that. But here, I can learn to live with some of the stuff. I'm really enjoying the series a lot. Yes.
Yeah, and as Wayne says, don't forget Chapel. I hadn't. In fact, I saw a couple stills that it's like, wow, if that's from the show, she's going to look amazing.
Yeah.
But yeah, again, I agree. The problem is, Francis, again, we've all been fans for this long because we really did pour over every factoid that they gave us for 55 years.
Yeah.
And that's why when they deviate from what's happened in the past, we're like, come on, man. Again, or just admit it that it's a soft reboot. And I guess by this point, it's like if you don't realize it's a soft reboot, then you're a knucklehead. I feel a lot better if they're like, all right.
You know what? I was thinking of this because my old Doctor Who's on constantly here, and my wife comes in. She goes, "What the hell are you watching?" I go, "Oh, it's Doctor Who with Tom Baker." And the fact that I watched and was so devoted to Star Trek, Doctor Who, Star Wars, I haven't watched this stuff in 40 years. Literally, I haven't seen it since it was on public broadcasting. But instantly, I know all the characters' names, and I don't know where that brain cell was for the last 40 years. But I'm like, oh, that's Nissa, and that's Leela, and that's Anza. And my wife's like, how do you know all this? I go,
Turlo.
I was so freaking. I mean, there was no internet. There was nothing out there to distract you. No video games like now. But
there was nothing else filling your head.
There was nothing else to do. But I remember I would know the schematics for the Universal Translator on Star Trek, which was just an old microphone. But we were like, I knew all the buttons and dials on the tricorder, and that meant so much to us. I don't know, maybe that's why we're so passionate about this shit when it goes off the rails, because we did waste years of our life learning how the phaser worked and how that little handheld.
That just meant you needed to go outside more.
No, I did go outside, but if it wasn't if it wasn't comic books, it was science fiction and stuff, and forget schoolwork. But boy, oh boy,
when Tom Baker shows up on the 50th anniversary episode of Doctor Who and has that amazing conversation with Matt Smith, and it's I might become the curator. I really think you might.
Yeah,
and that great. Yeah. And also, he's just like, I never forget a face. He's like, no, I don't either. But maybe in the future, you might revisit some of the old faces, and it's like, oh my god, it's him!
I know, it's him.
The Doctor.
That was on today, the episode where he fell to his death in Lagalopolis, and he turns into Peter Davison. And I go, yes. What the hell? And my wife's like, you're watching this? Go, shut up. He's going to die now. He's going to fall from this, satellite tower into the ground. And then, whatever. So cheesy.
Wayne
but
says
so good.
the Five Doctors just played. It's again,
Yes.
it's cheesy, but it was fun. It was
I
fun.
love watching that
Oh,
stuff.
that guy they got to play William Hartnell's part was terrific. He was
Yeah,
fun.
yeah.
But not as great as David, whatever his name is, who did it for the crossover with
the Three
damn it.
Doctors?
No, the
When they did that
Scottish.
one?
No, that was still Hartnell. That was the original Doctor.
Yeah.
No, the guy David, and I can't remember his last name. Help me out, everybody, who did the crossover at the end of Scottish guy.
Yeah. When the
Shame on
white-haired doctor guy, I can't think
Right.
of his name right now. He
Right.
met him. He's the same actor that plays Ricky Gervais's dad in that
Yes.
great show called Life is Over.
He's-
I don't know. Whatever that show is. That's
yeah,
really good.
not Tennant Dante.
No.
Peter
No.
Capaldi. Peter Capaldi.
Yeah, Peter Capaldi's doctor met the first time. He didn't want to
Yeah.
die. And he's
Right.
like, I don't want to go. He's like, you've got to go. And
Yeah,
they-
both of them. David Bradley. Thank you, Wayne. Absolutely.
Yes, they were on the World War
And-
One battlefield.
Yeah,
together.
yeah, and also, I was expecting you to be younger than
Yeah.
me. And he's like,
Yeah.
I am younger than you. That's a great episode.
By the way,
man.
totally off the subject, Top Gun 2 was really
Yeah.
cool.
Okay, good to know. That's cool. I've heard comparisons to Star Wars and the
Yes.
and the fighters and stuff, the way that they do their
Yeah.
action scenes, which is great. That's
I
awesome.
didn't want to say anything, but my wife's friend, when we left the theater, she goes, boy, that was really like Star Wars. I go, it was, but I didn't want to be a nerd and say, that whole use the Force and trust your
Good.
instincts. That's Obi-Wan Kenobi, buddy.
Sure.
Forget Tom Cruise.
Spoilers. Come on.
Yeah, exactly. But that's fine. All right. So we'll see how they handle Amok Time coming up
Yes.
on Thursday.
Don't
And
fuck
yeah,
them
we'll
up.
also, at the very least, Mitch and I don't know if Francis will watch the Orville, but we will.
No, I'm in it for the long haul. I'm a hate watch it all the way through.
He's too busy watching or hanging out with Will Wheaton this weekend. Ooh.
Maybe you guys can cozy up, and he'll have you on a special edition of the Ready Room.
I'll ask him.
Don't you love new Star Trek? No, not really.
No, not really.
I'll say I love Strange New World. All right.
Stuart says he doesn't watch Tom Cruise movies. Fair enough, Stuart. I understand. Whatever.
Okay.
That's fine. Yeah. All right. Well, we'll see. I hope everyone will join us for another edition
Next Monday. Yes. 8
for
o'clock.
Strange New, our look at Strange New Worlds and so much else. Wait, final comments. Pleasure as always. Thank you very much. There you go. Very cool.
That was it.
Okay.
Awesome.
Wow.
So everybody, stay safe, stay happy, stay healthy, and
Live long.
it was so cute when Frank's is like live long and prosper. I'm like, yeah, all right.
That was a great
Later.
episode. If you haven't listened
You're
to
very
it, go
nice.
listen to it.
You're
Yeah.
very nice. Thank you, Francis. Like I said, I was if I haven't said it on the air, everybody, I was so excited after it was done because I knew it was a good conversation. I had to lie down. I was just like, oh my God, I was so wired. Like, that really went great. And I wasn't too Chris Farley show. I mean, we got into episode points and movie points and stuff, but it was at the right level. I felt I had to lie down.
I'm insulted. He doesn't lay down after he talks to us.
No,
Well,
no. If anything, I gotta walk around the block and yell at myself out of frustration and everything.
Sometimes we have to wake him up just to get out.
This is true. All right, take it easy, everybody.
Bye.
Live long and prosper. Take it easy.